live, very horrific, terrifying storm. Awen,
with winds of over
life-threatening red warning, weather forecast.
So much you can do to prepare for a storm like Awen.
Nationwide weather, UK 2025.
A red warning is in place for the entire country. Here, it's being called the storm of the century.
Really?
Next in the path of Awen is Northern Ireland.
That's rare.
That's
horrific.
On people's phones.
Wow.
All schools will be closed. The first time this has happened since 2017.
100 years. Storm.
Well, it's always difficult, I suppose, to make a decision to close the school.
2025.
And I can understand
West Storm since 1925.
I suppose really the health and welfare, safety of children and of the entire school community is really vitally important.
As it crosses the Irish Sea, gusts of up to 100 miles an hour are predicted before it hits Scotland.
Outside at the moment.
There's a red warning in place for parts.
We haven't got much winds here in the south at all. Only 20 miles per hour, barely 30.
It's too dangerous for
it's not been bad as it forecast. They've done Met Office as usual. They got it wrong. As usual.
Is our number one priority. Because of that, we've had to make the very difficult decision to withdraw all of our ScotRail services throughout Friday to make sure that we keep everybody safe.
Much of Wales and the north of England are under an amber warning. There, like everywhere else in Awen's path, disruption is expected, and the advice is to only travel if you really have to.
Mainly in the north, it's the worst. South east of some regions have barely got 20 miles per hour winds today. Some rain this morning, not so bad. They got the forecast wrong with the winds in south east so recently. It wasn't as bad as it was supposed to be.
Plan journeys if you were making those journeys. Think about what you're doing. In any circumstance.
That's why I've done a forecast this morning.
Almost the whole of the UK is set to be under a yellow warning for high winds. Yesterday in Cornwall, there were even reports of a tornado.
I forecast it yesterday, tornado.
But was a reminder of our increasingly unpredictable weather.
I'm good at forecasting the weather. I'm better than Met Office anytime.
So in just a moment, we'll speak to our Scotland correspondent, David Wallace-Lockhart, who's in Glasgow for us. Morning to you, David. First, though, let's get the latest from our Ireland correspondent, Sarah Gervin, who's in Donegal, and bring us up to date on the situation there. We're hearing there have been some very extreme wind gusts there.
How windy?
Take us through the details.
Yeah, that's right, Charlie.
Still quite dark outside.
Down coast since we last spoke about an hour ago. The wind is really picking up. I mean, when those gusts hit you, they really hit you, and we're seeing lots more waves come over that sea wall behind me. But you talked about a potentially record-breaking gust of wind, and you're quite right. We've heard that one at 114 miles per hour has been recorded in Galway in the Republic of Ireland.
Wow, 114 miles per hour.
That gives you an idea of how serious conditions are there. Just to give you an idea of the disruption being caused in Northern Ireland today, well, every single school here is closed. Lots of public buildings are closed as well. Flights are cancelled. Hospital appointments are cancelled. There's no public transport this morning, for this morning at least. Buses and trains aren't on, and lots of businesses have taken the decision to close today. And we are even at this stage, Charlie, starting to hear about power outages across Northern Ireland. We believe thousands of homes are without power. That rises to 560,000 homes in the Republic of Ireland. Now, that was expected, but people will be dealing with that this morning. Two key messages: don't travel if you don't have to, and stay indoors if you can.
It's in the north though. South east areas is fine.
Awen as it blows through.
Sarah, for the moment, thank you.
In the north, really.
Let's go to our Scotland correspondent, David Wallace-Lockhart. David, hello. Still windy, getting very windy there.
Yeah, Naga, that's right.
Scotland.
It's windy and it's getting windier. It's still a couple of hours off that red warning coming into force in Scotland. It's going to be across the entirety of the central belt and beyond. So that's the breadth of Scotland, taking the cities of Glasgow and Edinburgh, where the majority of the Scottish population lives. And we're right by the River Clyde here, where if you can see the river, it is starting to get quite choppy. The occasional gust of spray going across the top of it. The trees on the other side you can see starting to sway more and more as Storm Awen gets closer. The disruption really is already here. Huge number of school closures across Scotland, all trains cancelled, all ferries to the islands cancelled, airports saying check in before any flight, check in the status of that flight, because expected to be widespread disruption, and it goes beyond travel. We've got courts closed today. We've had Tesco in the past hour announcing that they're closing all the stores in the affected area of Scotland. And the key message coming from the authorities here, very similar to in Northern Ireland, it's stay at home, it's only travel if it's necessary, because there is that red warning. Gusts of up to 100 miles per hour potentially.
Not as bad as Storm News.
Already had over 70 miles per hour.
22 February, 122 miles per hour on the Isle of Wight.
Comes with a red weather warning.
David, thanks very much for that. David Wallace-Lockhart there for us in Glasgow.
Let's focusing in on how this is affecting travel across the UK. We'll speak to our reporter Mairead Smith, who's at Preston train station in just a moment. First, Alison Freeman is at the Whitehaven Marina for us this morning. Morning to you, Alison. Give us a sense of what the weather is like there.
Yeah, so again in the last sort of half an hour, gusts have got even stronger again. We're in the harbour, so it is a little bit sheltered, but the forecasted gusts are between about 70 and 80 miles an hour at the moment. You can see the masts of the boats shaking around a lot more now. Now, it is an amber warning across the whole of the north of England. The peak is expected to be along the coastline between 9 and 10 of about 90 miles an hour. Amber means there is concern about power outages, travel disruption, and there is a risk to life and property. Now, when it comes to travel disruption, we know that all the trains in Cumbria have been cancelled today. So Highways Agency are concerned that people are going to take to the roads instead. They say if you have to travel, only use main routes. Electricity North West have also told us they've got hundreds of staff on standby. Just in case there are power outages. The RNLI are warning people to stay away from the coast. That's where the big waves are going to be. Don't come and have a look at them if you're tempted to, because there is a danger you could
get washed out to sea.
But we're going to be watching how the situation is unfolding here in Cumbria and across the north throughout the morning. Charlie Naga.
Yes, the wind.
Alison, thank you.
Well, rail services have been cancelled across the northwest today because of the storm. Our reporter Mairead Smith is at Preston train station for us this morning. Mairead, you're at the point where the trains stop.
Yeah, that basically be well.
That's right, Naga. This is as far north as you can get. Now, it's not that blustery.
Houston train station, London.
Preston this morning. The issue is what's happening
train station.
north of here. So this is as far
you name
north
it, go on
as
about
you can travel. The signs inside are very clear, saying that this disruption will impact.
Oh yeah, LNER.
Also, it's very important to say that replacement bus services or any alternatives are not being offered north of here. That's north of Preston today. So anybody hoping to get anywhere in Scotland from this station is just not going to happen. Also, a couple of the platforms here have been closed. That's because of concern about the high winds that are expected throughout today here in Preston. So far as well, a number of delays to other destinations as well. There are no services on the Settle to Carlisle line, the Cumbrian coastline, until 12 noon tomorrow. That's the same for services between Carnforth and Settle, and on Windermere and Morecambe branches too. On Merseyside, passengers hoping to travel on Merseyrail today, they're being asked to just check ahead before they set off today. On the East Coast line, no services will run north of Newcastle. That's from 11 o'clock this morning. So passengers as well are advised not to travel from stations north of York. That's because there could be cancellations or delays there. So a lot of impact on train services across the north of England today.
Mairead, thanks very much. Mairead Smith there for us in Preston.
So, as we're hearing this morning, treacherous conditions on the coast. Let's speak now to Chris Cousins, who's from the RNLI. Very good morning to you, Chris. Thank you for your time this morning.
Serious storm, really nice sting in it. Be really careful out there north of UK today.
Really strong.
It might be 50 miles per hour southeast, but it won't be that bad in the southeast.
Tomorrow,
so
and that with it brings bigger waves. So we're asking people to exercise extreme caution, particularly along those exposed cliffs, seafronts and piers today.
Common sense has a big part to play in this, but what are the areas that you're most concerned about at this point?
Yeah, well, when you have a storm of this nature, poses significantly increased risk at the coast, and we don't want people
going down there.
to get a glimpse of the storm.
They did in 2022, storm that down at Cornwall and Devon. I remember that one.
A safe distance from the water.
Very silly people.
If you do find yourself in difficulty in the water, remember to float to live. That means lie back in the water, extend your arms and legs, and relax.
It's not worth you losing your phone.
Get control of your breathing.
Just get a silly,
video.
video. It's not worth it.
Rescue them yourself. Instead, call 999 or 112. Ask for the Coast Guard, and that'll initiate that professional rescue response.
It's cold and miserable when that wave hits you at the coast.
What you're seeing so far, geographically,
I'll be down the storm, but not as bad as this storm. I'm telling you guys, it's no fun. It's miserable.
Well, I think we'd ask people right across the coast today to exercise caution, but those
it was unpredictable storm. It wasn't a named storm at all. It was unnamed,
Scotland and
unpredictable.
England, I think,
Both here in the UK. I was down at Portsmouth Harbour years and years ago.
Along those coasts, really do take extra care and remember that life-saving advice to call 999 and initiate the emergency response should you see someone else in difficulty in the water.
Chris, you'll know this only too well. People are sometimes drawn to the coast when there are storms to get a picture, to see it for themselves.
Yeah, I saw it in 2022.
It's really
Storm
risky, isn't it?
It is,
yeah,
indeed.
Absolutely. I mean, when there's high winds like there will be today, there'll be bigger waves. Areas of the coastline that don't normally get overtopped by water will do. And it doesn't take an awful lot of water if there's a big wave to knock you off your feet and drag you into the sea. So we would advise people to stay well back and not take that risk. Watch from a safe distance or watch from your home.
He's Christ, Michelle and Simon Jevons. It's a serious storm, guys. No joke.